Hello there, it's Michael here with another guitar lesson from Northern Ireland, and this is Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles and George Harrison, of course. So please check the timestamps below because this will be a long video. There are various ways you can play it, from quite basic to, the full shebang, very advanced. So do take your time, kind of work through it as a process, and you'll be able to get it sounding really, really like the song with a bit of work through it, okay? So to play this song in the correct key, you will need to put your capo on fret 7. Okay, let's look at the intro. So for like a basic version of this, let's just talk about the rhythm first. So for the whole song, it can have this kind of a rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so one bar of music subdivided into 8 notes there. So that's 8 notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... And I would really encourage it, whether you're strumming or picking, depending on what note you're playing, what chord you're playing, keep the arm always moving like that throughout, okay? And keeping that same pattern for downstrokes and upstrokes is really going to pay off for this song. So to start the song, there's like one beat of rest, and then for the rest of the bar, we're going into this continuous strumming. So it would be 1 and nothing, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so the 1 and, you're not doing anything on it. Now, but basically the first 2 bars are a D chord. Okay, that's the basis of it. Then a bar of G. Bar of A7. And same again, basically. But for that last bar there, something that will happen a few times in the song is that's what's called a push. So the A7 was actually on the 4 and of the 7th bar there, okay? So you weren't playing it as a downstroke at the start of bar 8. It was with an upstroke at the end of bar 7. In context, that's this. Okay, so you can play the rest of the song in a basic way like this, okay, if you take the chords and apply that kind of a rhythm. But it doesn't sound like Here Comes the Sun, does it? No, and you want it to. Okay, so we're going to look at how to do that. There's our first bar, okay? So you're going to notice we're not really strumming too much here. I think of it much more as a picking song. It's kind of like lead guitar in a way. So we're picking out individual string or strings to get that lovely melody, okay? But it's based around a D chord. Just hold a D chord down there. And this will be the first 2 bars, okay? So first bar, there's nothing for the first beat. Then do a full strum on a D chord. But the immediate upstroke afterwards, you're just trying to pick out the note on the B string, okay? Next part, you would pick the high E string with a downstroke and then an upstroke down on the open E, up on the 2nd fret of where it usually would be for a D chord. So if you just get that going, that's a good start. To finish off that bar, you're just planted on a D chord. I would suggest play the 2 lower strings of it with a downstroke, followed by an upstroke for the G and B strings. So everything so far. Okay, let's keep going. By the way, have a nice kind of fresh pick, and I really like these pointy ones. The Jim Dunlop Tortex ones. This is a 0.6, okay? A good pick makes all the difference for this sort of thing. Into the 2nd bar then. Downstroke, again I'm going to suggest on the lower 2 strings of the D chord, followed by the upstroke on the G and B string. Then a full strum on all the strings in the D chord, that's 4 strings. Followed by an upstroke just outlining this open high E note. followed by this. So again, you're going to see a pattern here. Just the lower two strings of the D chord, a downstroke, upstroke the G and B string, downstroke the two lower strings. Then you can lift your finger off for the chord change, but still play the B and G string open. So this second bar now. And hopefully you're hearing the nice melody of the song there. Okay, I think these bits on and around the D chord are the trickiest in the song. And once you get these down, the rest of it is not going to be so bad, okay? So spend a lot of time on that. Be patient. And if you keep this down and up stroke motion going, essentially that's what the arm's always doing, and then you're trying to pick out these individual string or strings. Let's put it in context with those two bars again. So start to get a bit easier now. Hold a G chord, but it's not quite our familiar G, okay? Middle finger on the 3rd fret of the low E, relative to the capo, of course. And then your 3rd finger is going to go on the 3rd fret of the B string. You can deliberately mute the A string throughout in all these G chords, okay? So it's really this. Now then, you're going to see this down and up stroke motion, just picking out two strings at a time, really. Okay, so this is our next part. So just hold this shape in place, just call it a G chord, and you're going to do downstrokes on the two lower strings, but obviously that's getting muted, so it's really just the low E string. Then you're going to be playing an upstroke on the B and G string. Back to the low E and then go to the high E and B string. Then back to the low E and the B and G. Low E again. But then you're going to the B and G string and that'll be open now. You can have taken the 3rd finger off. Onto the A7 part where it kind of opens up a bit more into strumming. So a down on the A7 and omit the high E string, just maybe don't quite catch it. Then you do an upstroke, but you're just catching the B and G string. You can lift the 3rd finger off from where it usually would be. Down on the A7 again. And that upstroke on the B and G string, you can add the little finger to get that fret 3 added on the B string now. Downstroke with that pinky added on the 4 strings of the A7. You can lift it off then and finish the bar. And did you notice I kind of tried to catch the 3 skinny strings on the last up? I mean, these are very fine details. It doesn't have to be exact every time. So this is the full bar. Now the next D that comes around is really the same stuff as the first bar, but we don't have that missing beat anymore. So literally just put this in now. You can do a full down on a D chord getting all the strings, or just catch the lower 2 strings of it. Okay, so this is it in context now. Okay, so it's all the same stuff, so just be patient and you'll see that this really opens up a lot of the song. G chord's a bit of a variation, but the same idea, so this is how it sounds. So this is really kind of a G major 7. 3rd finger in the 3rd fret of the low E. Use 1st finger for 2nd fret of the high E. So you'll see we're bouncing off these strings again from like the low ones to the higher ones. So you're bouncing back to that low E. On that upstroke, catch the high E and B, and your first finger's on that fret 2 of the high E. Then next time you do that upstroke, make them open. Third time you do an upstroke in that bar, put the third finger on the third fret of the B string, and you're catching the B and G. One more down on that third fret of the low E, and you're going to kind of quickly catch an A7 with an upstroke. And there we go. So I'll put it all together nice and slow here. Okay, now that was the intro, which really takes care of the verses throughout the song a lot. There'll be little variations that I'll point out, but that's a lot of the work done. Now then we'll play what I'm just calling the chorus that sounds very much like this with maybe a little bit less playing involved. Okay, so that was a brief little playthrough of the chorus. Okay, so let's look at how it's played. Okay, let's look at the first bar of the chorus, bar 9. So what I would suggest here, you're going to have some gaps between the upstrokes especially. You can try and tell the arm to keep moving anyway. It just tends to keep the time better, I find. So I'm trying to mimic the downstrokes there and leave even gaps. So on beats 1 and 2, you're just playing the D. Play the lower 2 strings of the D on the first down. Second beat, you can play all the strings. Followed by an up pick on the open high E. Then another up pick, put your finger back on there. But play the E and B string now. And then the third up in that bar, you'll just play the B and G string. So you're getting that kind of thing in the ups. And do not worry if you accidentally hit more strings than I've put in the tab here. You know, I doubt every time I play this that it's exactly the same. It's that kind of a song, you know. And just so you know how to count that, that's 1, 2, and. Okay, so you've got beat 1 and 2 there, but beats 3 and 4, where there would usually be downs, are missing. So that's why it's a little bit awkward and syncopated. So 1, 2, and. Second bar then of the D in this section. The kind of first eighth note of that bar is just tied from the last, so you don't do anything. Followed by an upstroke on the lower 2 strings of the D. Followed by that there that I will break down. So you're playing fret 2 of the high E with a down. To fret 3 of the B with an up. Back to the high E for an open string on the down. Followed by an up on the second fret. Followed by a downstroke on the lower 2 strings of the D. Followed by an up pick on the open B and G. Those 2 bars together will sound like this. And as ever, it gets a bit easier after the D chord, so you're back to a kind of G chord again. We've done this before. Then go to an E7. I'm just using this voicing without the high E string. Okay, so it's like a normal E chord, But you can take the third finger off and add pinky to fret 3 of the B string. And that's a nice sounding one. So we get a bit of a break from all the fancy stuff there. That's just straight down and up strumming on that E7 chord. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Back to the D's again. First down, play the lower 2 strings in the D chord. Next upstroke, you're just picking out the high E, that'll be fret 2. Back to the lower 2 strings with a down. Back to an upstroke in the high E, but it's open. Then one more up pick here, just on fret 3 of the B string that'll already be planted. Now there's something totally different, just kind of picking out individual strings. Let's have a look. So fret 2 of the G string we need. I just like starting this on an up pick because it helps me keep the picking flowing nicely. You're going to pick that, but slide to fret 4. And take your time. You want that second fret to ring out. Don't just fly straight away. We want this nice smooth sound. Then place the third fret of the B string down. I'm just using the middle finger here. Pick that B string, then pick the high E string. Take the third finger off. You just need fret 2 in the G string now. Same picking pattern. Take it off to get an open G. Back on to fret 2. So I'll recap that. And you'll notice that third fret of the B is just ringing in nicely to everything. To a little cool pull-off lick here. So again, that middle finger's just stuck there. Pick it and pull off where your first finger will now be to fret 2 of the B string. And then do the same on the G string, but you're fretting fret 4 and 2. So that's the little lick there. And to get those notes to pop out, I mean, pull-offs are quite tricky on the acoustic guitar. It's really the speed at which that finger flicks off the string. And then it'll be nice and audible. Now, you can relax because that's a lot of the song, okay? We've taken care of a lot of it there. There are some other parts though, so I'm going to go through it all. So let's continue into verse 1, and you're going to be happy to see this. It's basically the intro again, just with some A7 strumming at the end to fill the rest of the bars out. So I'm just going to demonstrate it here slowly and then quicker because we don't really need to go over this again. So we've got to take care of a chorus then, okay? Much the same stuff as before, but with a little variation. So hopefully you're going to see there, these are all parts we've done, but we've just kind of put on a bit of a tag at the end of this chorus, a bit of a longer ending. So do all the same as the first chorus I showed you, and then this is just the part you need to add. Another verse will come along, by the way, here. We'll call it verse 2, and it's all the same as verse 1. Chorus 3 comes along. It's the same stuff as the other choruses, just with a slightly different tag this time, before we go into a new part of the song called the bridge. So let me just finish chorus 3 for you. All the same stuff, but right at the end you're just going to do, it's a bar of 2/4, so half of what we've been playing, just a couple of downs in the A7. So here is that ending. Alright, into the bridge then, where there's kind of like some funky keyboard playing along with the guitar parts, and this is a little bit different from the other parts. Okay, so that part we'll play 5 times, okay? So we've got what's called first and second endings here, although there's 6 times in total we have to do this. So the first 5 times of the bridge you do what I did there, okay? So let's break that down. So let's pick some individual notes. I've put picking directions on the tab, but you can kind of vary this to whatever suits you, okay? This just seems to be the way I like to play it. This is kind of separate from the other parts of the song, where I really do encourage you to stick to the down and up motions I've specified, but here you can change it if you need to, okay? Anyway, here it is. 0, 4, 2 on the D string. Then make what's kind of a little F shape across the D, G and B string, okay? You're going to let these notes ring into one another. And I tend to like doing this with 2 downs and then an up pick on the highest note. Move down to what looks like a C shape, but we're only playing the A, D and G string this time. Move to this shape, just have 2nd fret of the A string, pick across the same strings. So let me recap that. One more thing, just leave that middle finger where it was. We need to make what's the bottom of a G chord here. You're going to pick just the lower 2 strings to finish all that. Then into some familiar stuff from before. So do that 5 times. Here's one of them. And the 6th time you do it, you play all that first part again, but instead of the ending that has 1 to 5 around it, skip to the 6th one, okay? And this will be your 6th ending. Let's take care of the end of the 6th ending, alright? So hold an A7, you're basically doing down, 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 up, down, up. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. But we're just having to embellish a little bit. So on the 3 and 4 and, the 3 is just an A7 chord with the 2nd finger there and the 2nd fret of the B string. Then lift it up in the upstroke, back down for a downstroke, pinky on for an upstroke on fret 3 of that string. Let's keep going to finish. So you've got a tied first part of that bar, pinky on for the next upstroke and downstroke, then still on for the next down, off for the upstroke, down for the next downstroke, and then off for the final upstroke in that bar. So if I count that, that would be and 2, 3 and 4 and. Then let's keep going. So up down on the A7 without the pinky now. This will be in bar 59, by the way. So that was and 2, 3 and. So on the and after the 3, you can lift off that finger from the B string. Down for the 4, and then also add the pinky for the and. And let's finish it off into the next bar. And that should make sense there. That would be and 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let me do from the end of the 6th ending, and I'll add those 3 bars there that I kind of meticulously counted out for you. And a bit faster. Okay, let's keep going. Verse 3 is the same as stuff we've done before. Chorus 4 is the same as stuff we've done before. Okay, we just got the outro to take care of. That's very similar to the bridge we were just discussing. So we got a mix of parts here. Some of the earlier bits from like the chorus and then a little bit of the bridge. Okay, so this is how it sounds. Let me make sure you've got that. We've the end of the chorus really for this outro. Then into the bit in the bridge where you're holding some shapes down and picking through them. And one more thing, just grab a D chord and just glide across for a little strum at the end.